never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Fine.
Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. What month do we hate the most? And I know hate is a strong word, and I hate to use that word, but that is the wording that they used when they released the article. But according to a recent survey that polled Americans, the month that Americans hate the most is January. And I believe there are several reasons for that. One is it's really cold. A lot of times January is the coldest month of the year, and nobody likes cold weather. Even the people that say they like cold weather don't really like cold weather. I think they say it to be different and say it to aggravate people and say it to be annoying and say it to start a conversation. But there's just no way you're going to convince me that it's so cold you can't feel your ears, you can't feel your nose, you can't feel your lips, and you've got to put on 9 layers of clothes just to walk to the mailbox and back, and you're going to try to tell me you like that. I don't believe that. But on top of that, if you have kids or grandkids, at Halloween time, you have to spend money every year on costumes because hardly any kid wants to wear the same costume back-to-back years. They've always got to go with the latest fad, the latest fashion. And then we have Thanksgiving, where most of us that have weight issues put on weight from eating Thanksgiving food and then leftovers for the next 3 or 4 days. And then about the time you recover from that, most people don't just have one Christmas get-together. You have 5 or 6, and you start early December, and you go see your spouse's side of the family one weekend, your side of the family one weekend, your grandparents' side of the family one weekend, and you pretty much spend every weekend in December visiting family, which you eat more food. So most of us between Thanksgiving and New Year's put on 4 or 5 pounds, but we feel like we put on 40 or 50 pounds. And then if you have kids or grandkids, you're spending bukus of money for Christmas presents. So by the time January comes around, you're cold, and you're going to be cold for the entire month. And you feel like it's going to be the middle of summer before you catch up on all your bills from all the money you spent from Halloween and Christmas. And you feel like you've got to go on a diet and lose all that weight you gained Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I think all that together is the reason why most Americans hate the month of January. But today here on the channel, my main topic is going to be wrestling. In a minute, I want to ask, why are wrestling fans the way they are? But first, I want to do a quick preview of AEW Revolution, which comes up Sunday night from San Francisco. There's been 8 matches announced. I believe that's all they're going to have. 8 matches is quite a lot, especially when one of them is going to be a 60-minute Iron Man match. So I think 8 matches is all we're going to see. The 60-minute Iron Man match will be MJF versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW World title. And then we have a 4-way tag team match for the AEW Tag Team Championships. The Guns versus the Acclaimed versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal versus Danhausen and Orange Cassidy. Then we have a Texas death match between Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. And a funny quick story about Jon Moxley is my wife swears up and down that Jon Moxley favors me. And the reason why I say Jon Moxley favors me is because I'm older than he is. So since I was born first, I can't favor him. He has to favor me. But anyway, she swears up and down that me and Jon Moxley could be long lost brothers and just don't know it. Last Sunday at church, my wife took her Jon Moxley cup to church. And to quickly explain what the Jon Moxley cup looks like, it's a coffee mug, but all the way around it is different photos of Jon Moxley. Well, our pastor saw the cup and said, "Who is that?" And I said, "It's Jon Moxley, but my wife says we favor." And he said, "Y'all do favor." So the next time you see Jon Moxley, think about me, especially if you're like my wife and you think that Jon Moxley's good looking. Remember, he looks like me, which is why he is so good looking. But anyway, we're also having a TNT Championship match between Samoa Joe and Wardlow. The Trios Championship will be on the line. The Elite versus the House of Black. Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho. And then we have Jack Perry versus Christian Cage. So that is our 8 matches on tap Sunday night in San Francisco for AEW Revolution. And the reason why I want to ask is, why are wrestling fans the way they are? And there are a few exceptions, so it's not everybody, it's just the majority of wrestling fans. I don't understand why, as a wrestling fan, you can't just be a wrestling fan and watch all wrestling. Now, if there's a certain company that you've watched and you don't like it, then by all means, don't watch it. But for some reason, most wrestling fans feel like they have to watch only one promotion and all the rest of them they don't watch, but yet they'll sit back and bash them all day long. You see WWE fans that bash AEW, they'll bash Impact, they'll bash NWA, they'll bash Ring of Honor, they'll bash indie wrestling. AEW fans, same way. AEW fans think just because they like AEW, they have to hate the WWE, and I don't understand that. If you're a wrestling fan, why can't you just be a wrestling fan? Why do you have to only watch one certain promotion and hate all the rest of them? Me personally, I watch WWE, I watch AEW, I watch Impact, I watch NWA, I watch independent wrestling, obviously, because I like wrestling. Now, it's okay to find the good and the bad in both, but just because you prefer AEW doesn't mean the WWE has to suck. Just because you like WWE doesn't mean AEW has to suck. It's okay to just watch every single kind of wrestling that comes on TV, and the ones that don't come on TV, it's okay to watch on YouTube. I know people that watch WWE, AEW, Impact, NWA, Ring of Honor, and then they get on YouTube and find independent wrestling. And that's fine. That's understandable. It's wrestling. But why do most wrestling fans think that of the two major promotions, AEW and WWE, you have to like one and the other one just totally sucks? I understand if you say, hey, I like this one better. Here's what they're doing right. Here's what I don't like. But just because you like one better than the other one doesn't mean you have to totally hate the other one. Just let wrestling fans be wrestling fans. I don't understand why people think you've got to pick one over the other. Just watch them both. Just enjoy wrestling for the product that it is. But I am curious if AEW will continue to have pay-per-views, because now that WWE's pretty much done away with them, because now they call them premium live events, because if you have Peacock, they're free. So that tells you how much money that the WWE is making, that 2022 was the most profitable year in the history of the company. They made more money last year in 1 year than they've ever made in one single year in the company's history. So that tells you how much money they're making and how good they're doing, that they're no longer charging $35-40 for pay-per-views, but yet they're still making money. And AEW is still having pay-per-views. Now, of course, you can't ask the hardcore fans, because the hardcore WWE fans are going to watch the pay-per-views whether they're free as a premium live event or if they've got to pay for them. The AEW hardcore fans are going to watch them whether they're free or not. So you can't ask the hardcore fans. They're going to watch them regardless. But you would think that a casual wrestling fan that only watches on occasion would be more tuned in to WWE now that their pay-per-views are absolutely free as long as you have Peacock. So I am curious how long AEW will continue the pay-per-views now that WWE has done away with them. Now, of course, I don't look at the TV ratings as far as pay-per-views go, so I don't know which ones make the most money. Now, of course, they're both going to tell you how much money they made, and they're both going to tell you how good they did, but that's because that's what they want you to hear. You really don't know how much of it is true and how much of it is totally made up. But I am actually genuinely curious if AEW will continue the pay-per-views or if they'll slowly try to do what WWE is doing and turn it towards more of a free thing just to make you be able to watch it. Because with the overall TV ratings, Raw continues to win as far as overall viewership. AEW wins in the key demographic, which is 18 to 35-year-olds. But overall viewership, Raw continues to beat AEW. SmackDown and Wednesday Night Dynamite are generally about neck and neck. But as far as pay-per-views go, I honestly, really, truly don't know. It's just funny to me how one is now free and the other one you still have to pay for. Any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. What's the best kind of music to listen to when fishing? Something catchy. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.